Hello everybody and welcome back to X4, the beginner's guide, and today we are going to discuss that all important first mission we had that we've not actually dealt with since the first episode of this guide. We kind of left it there and didn't do much with it. Well, today we're going to cover it up and get it done and unlock a couple of bits with it, which is why I say don't leave it forever. Get it done and out of the way. It's just at the time it was all about getting your empire going, and the reason why we did the empire first rather than actually doing the mission first is because if you'd have done that mission and the faffing around it's got in it, it's not too long, but it's still money lost in my eyes. Now we're earning money without doing anything other than the mission we were going to do. So that's the difference between the two reasons why you would want to do it now rather than back then. Now, we already know that we're going to need a ship because that's the mission it's telling us to. So if we want to press the M button back into our map, we head on over here where it's got mission offers and mission manager. Now, because it's an ongoing mission, it'll be in our mission manager, the experiment. And you can see there, it talks about a few things. It says, deliver a ship with the following criteria. We need 3 antimatter cells. The nearest factory is the Taladi Refined Goods Complex in Grand Exchange 3. Now, a couple of things we could do here. We can set ourselves up so we've got no problems later, or we can go ahead and do it step by step and have to spend a little bit more time dealing with stuff. I'm going to tell you now, you're going to be leaving the ship behind. But you're going to need the 3 antimatter cells. And you're also going to need to get there, and you're also going to need to get out of there. So let's deal with that now before we set off. Let's get ourselves set up, let's get ourselves over there to get the antimatter cells, and let's go over a couple of other things as we're going. So first of all, we need a ship to jump out of the ship we're in. It's going to be this one here. So we're now in the one that's the lighter coloured one because we're inside it, telling us we're there as well as the ship being there. I'm going to go ahead and... do we want to take command of it? No, we'll take command of it in a moment. Basically, we're going to want to get this ship here to this ship's fleet. So we're going to assign the role for Defense Alpha. Doesn't really matter too much what you set it as, it just means that that ship's going to protect us if we need it. Next thing we want to do is this ship here that I've already selected has only got one other person other than the captain. I double checked that. And the easiest way of doing that is going on to your property owned, finding a ship that's suitable for you. I've made it a fleet, so we know it's this one here. This one here. We're going to go to information, and we can see from the crew selection that we've got Latasha Trigg and Gabrielle Crew. Both of them not the best in the world, and we're going to get rid of both of them. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to fire our Gabrielle. Now, if you've got space on your station, whack him in there. You could have done it for the manager rather than what we did earlier if you're going to go straight on to doing the mission. Or if you've got another ship nearby, you can drop him into that other ship nearby. We've actually just got one landed. If I'm quick enough, Mercury Vanguard. If I'm quick enough...
Can I help?
Let's see if we can get that Mercury Vanguard and see if we can get them to go onto the service crew.
Affirmative.
Excellent, so we managed to get it in because there was a ship there. If there hadn't been a ship there, you could just, you know, get rid of them, fire them, just as I did with the other one. Realistically, you're not going to lose that much from firing 1 or 2 pilots because, well, we've got plenty of crew now leveling up. And we've got plenty of money to get new crew as well. But, you know, wasted money is wasted money. Right, so now we've got our own ship that we can use. We've also got a defense ship that's going to follow us around. So next thing we want to do is we want to undock. And we want to head ourselves out to where we were going to head out before. Get ourselves up here. There we go. Okay. Let's just get ourselves just out of the station's way. If we bring ourselves around, we should hopefully see our other ship leaving the dock as well. Where are you? Hey, I've already left the dock.
Magnetar, Mineral, Vanguard.
That's our ore refinery. Ship's still in the dock, well. Oh, that's the Magnetar we've selected. We don't want that. much. There we are. It still looks like they are hovering around waiting for us. Good, so they're going to follow us around. So, the first thing I want to do is I want to set myself up some sort of transport. So I know that the nearest place, going to the mission manager, going to be Bloody Refined Goods Complex number 1 in Exchange 3. Let's head to Exchange 3. Then we're going to want to find our full parts, turret parts, quantum parts. Find where it is. Okay. High tech. Graphene. Full parts. Get that one. Get that one. Oh, well, this station's one in here. That's the trading station. Where did it tell us to go? Find goods complex. Ah, there it is there. So if we right click this, I'm going to deselect everything first. Start guidance to object. What that's going to do now is it's going to set us a guidance point. As you can see, that yellow line there. You can see we've got a yellow marker telling us where to go. Okay, now so we've got our location set. We're heading out, and I don't really want to fly the whole way there, but I haven't got anybody to fly it for me. Well, thankfully enough, they come with an autopilot. So let's whack on our autopilot.
Engaged.
The autopilot isn't 100%, but it'll get us there pretty decent. So whilst we could do that, we could deal with whatever we want to deal with, which is dealing with our empire. You can see there we're heading on out, and hopefully our other ship will join us. Now, that's one thing. While we're getting on there, I want to go through a couple of things with you. Just a bit of a quality of life stuff that might seem relevant for some people to make it a little bit better during their experience playing the game. The first one I'm going to deal with is missions. Now, as you can see, we're currently doing a mission, and there's a guidance mission, which is what you set as a guidance. You've got upkeep missions, which is things like, you know, if your ships have not got captains, if you're missing any managers and stuff like that, you'll have these missions in here. And then you've got your important missions, which are the missions you're currently on. There are other missions. You will get important missions, which is telling you to join the Hatikva's trade revolution. Now, because we've been dealing with the HAT on the map down here, you'll notice that you'll get reputation with them, and it'll unlock you things like this. And all you need to basically do is just accept it, and yeah, basically it gives you more options and you can level yourself up. They tend to be based on reputation and other things like that. There are some other things that come in there. You then get the guild missions, which if you choose one of these, you start to reflect your reputation down that one path. Now, as I said, I don't tend to do that. I tend to bounce between a few of them until I'm settled with what designs I've got.
System. Second contact.
We'll hopefully avert some of that by doing this mission here, and I'll explain why we're doing this mission later on. Now, the other one is other mission contracts, which you can see some of them have just gone grey. They're generally for what's in the sector. So if you go around the sector, they'll give you sector missions, and some of them have got some good credits, and some of them will give you like basic seminars, 1-star cruise seminars and stuff like that. So sometimes they're pretty decent. You can earn some good cash off them, but just bear in mind that you're not going to earn the same amount of money as we've been earning. Some of them are really good, but some of them do risk a lot of things. Now, if you're not running with the mod that will allow you to teleport to another ship if you die, then when you die, you'll have to either reload back from where you saved, or the game's over for you. So just bear that in mind. The other thing I want to go through with is player information. Now, this player information's got a few things. First one you come up to is the Empire. Now, all these things, this empire is your empire. It's not an empire set up for you or anything like that. You're not a part of an empire. You are the empire. So, at the moment, I'm just on a default name, which is Val Selton. So, I'm going to change that to the Rugged Gamer. And you can see now, when I accept that in, I've now changed my name in the top left. Organization name, Rugged Enterprises.
Entering system. Black Hole Sun.
You can change that to whatever you want. That won't come up here, but that's now what my organisation is called. I can change my logo. Let's have the Burr playing a guitar, because that's kind of cool. It gives you a description of, obviously, what things are there. It also says as well, which is pretty nice, pretty sweet, if you want to do things like this, to add your own logo, insert an image file in your logos folder. Files in any of the following formats are supported: BMP, DDS, GIF, JPEG, PNG, and TGA. So you can place yourself some nice little logos there of your empire. So whatever you choose, whether you use one of the default ones or whether you use ones. But we've picked one anyway. The last thing you've got is your default ship skins, which is basically just like color effects and stuff like that you'll get. Now, this thing in the corner here is supposed to show you a ship, but it bugs out sometimes. It's a bit of an annoying thing. Yeah, you have to close it out and come back in again if it'll do it for us. Not quite sure why it does it. It does. Have a look and see if it's there now. No, so it's determined not to show. Now, when I was in the station earlier, when I wasn't moving, it was showing a ship. Then that might be the case as to what you need to do. Because it might be trying to pick up on a nearby ship, and because we're moving, there isn't technically one. I'm not sure. But you can choose what skin colours you want. You can see there the kind of effects it does. It doesn't do massive effects, but it makes it, you know, a little bit more customizable. Next couple of things are important for you. The first one is what your net worth is, your wealth. And when I said to you that you are making profit without actually making profit, this is what I meant. So when you're buying new ships, you're doing all sorts of stuff like this, you're earning profit. If you sold all your ships all of a sudden, just like you would do if you were liquidating a business, the assets, you're going to get all that money. So it's money in your pocket. Yes, you do lose some of it, because obviously if you try and sell a ship, you're not going to get that full value back, damages and stuff like that, but you still got that profit in that asset. So don't be disheartened if you aren't earning as much money. It's all there. And it's also a good way to see, well, actually, if I want to get a big ship rather than having lots of little ones, do I have the money in my current ships when you're lower down? Obviously, when you start getting mixed ships, it's a little bit harder to control, but the details are still there. It's your total value of your ships and total value of your stations. As you can see, we're about 6 mil behind from ships to stations. That's not too bad. I mean, your stations are going to start increasing in value as you start getting them bigger anyway. When we unlock some different things, which we'll go through once we've completed the next mission. Probably on the next episode we'll go through with that. You've obviously got your inventory value, which is what's in your personal inventory. You've got available cash, which is your cash at the top here. And then you've got total cash in station accounts. Now this is important. If you know you're running stations that are not purchasing from other factions, that's useful to know, because it'll tell you at a glance what money you have in all of your stations that are sat there. Now obviously some stations are going to require money when it comes to purchasing parts, or keeping station upkeeps up with the drones and stuff like that. So just bear that in mind, but it gives you a bit of a glance at how much. And I know I've got that 1 million in that station that we've got back at where we've just been at the Reach. So that's a good little thing there. You have a couple of bits of just information for you to know. The first one, number of high personnel, just tells you how many personnel you've got. It gives you an entire list of personnel as well. So if you're looking for a specific high-skilled pilot, then you can have a look in here. Now, you'll notice there are a lot of crewmen. Obviously, we don't have Marines, so all of them are crewmen.
Entering system.
It'll tell you what ship they're on, which is why I said it's important to actually name your ships, something that you're going to remember. Now, obviously, I've stuck with defaults just to make things a little bit quicker. I have shown you how to change the names, and you can go ahead and do that. You've got your captains in there as well. So if I knew I wanted to have a crewman that I might want to use for something else, then I know that Adria Halter there is nearly a 4-star crewman. That could help.
Autopilot disengaged.
Okay, it looks like we're nearby to where we need to be, so we'll cut this off soon. But we can see there at a glance some of the high quality crew members we have. Now you'll also notice as well, and this is important, you'll notice that at the top here, these are all drill people. I can guarantee you most of these are going to be on our earlier ships. Our earlier ships that we had right at the beginning of this guide. You can see they're all leveling up lovely. Now that's why I said it's important to stack up your ships with crew members. That's the proof in the pudding right there. These are all good stars. When you come to sell one of your smaller ships or to upgrade it, something like that, consider spreading your crew about. Placing a large ship in there that's got a low level crew, or a new ship or a fighter ship, especially if you've got a fighter ship or something like that. If you want it to have the best pilot, then the likelihood is you're going to get that through this crew member. Now, the crewman or crewwoman that you're going to pick may have higher level in engineering side of things rather than the morale side of things. You're looking for morale and piloting, but you can usually get a good balance between. Total personnel skill just tells you, your average personnel skill in your total, just kind of gives you a figure of how you're doing. We're about a 1 star, so we're early days at the moment, so that's expected. Venture ships is the online PvP, well, not PvP, but the online sort of system. I haven't really delved into Venture. If you're interested in Venture, I can try and dig some up with it. I have done a couple of little bits on it, but I don't pretend to generally aim for other player ships. They can be involved in your game and they will interact, not by another player, but their ships will go out from their empire and do bits in your system, and you can attack them and stuff. There's a few things you can do. If you're interested, let me know in the comment section, I'll cover that. The last thing is obviously the government, and you can add and remove words onto this. So you can I don't really get involved with that, but you can tell if the police are wanting you in certain areas and stuff like that. Okay, no, that's completely wrong. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, the descriptions are actually right for the first time. This is areas that are your policing. So when you go into a sector that says you're carrying illegal goods, or you could be carrying illegal goods, that sector is set by whoever owns it, which is like the Argon or whoever. If you own a sector, you can set your own illegal words. Then you can confiscate words. It piss a lot of people off, but it's a good way of getting free loot, I guess. Be worried about. But that is the tab for the Empire at a glance. There's a few other bits and bobs we'll discuss at a later stage, but we are here. So let's get ourselves onto our station. Right, what have we got here?
Osprey. Sentinel.
That's the fighter pilot. But that looks... Where's our pilot that's finally decided to turn up?
Taladi Trading Station.
That's the trading station. So this here must
Refined
be...
Goods Complex.
Refined goods. We're going to press enter and we're going to ask for docking.
Docking granted.
Again, we're going to head and dock. Jump into here. We'll just quick boost. And we'll follow the green lines in. Glitch there, that's fine. Oh, we're traveling a little bit too fast here. The green lines have gone. Have they got 2 docking stations? They have got 2 docking stations, and I almost missed it. Right, we're docked, we're good. Right, let's get to the trade. Let's get ourselves. Now that everybody can have a laugh at how terrible I was. And we want 3 antimatter cells. Got our 3 antimatter cells. Wait for the trade to finish. I think it has finished. There we go. It's finished. We're good to go. Now we can undock. I'll undock and get out of the way of this. Don't like being... Okay, so let's just lock our steering for a moment. Right, so now that we've got our everything we need, we now need to get ourselves over to the location. Now, we're probably not far from the location anyway, but if we have a look, this is where we had our advanced satellite and we had our normal satellite. This is where we were dropping them earlier. Now, if you can't remember what it is we were doing, you can head over to your menu here. They'll tell you now, deliver suitable ship. It's still not telling us where. So if you open the briefing, it will actually tell you. If you can't remember where it is, then you can take the long way around. Now, if you notice, when I selected the ship, it actually took us to the marker, which is here. If you missed that, though, if you haven't selected the ship and you're kind of like, oh, where the hell is it? Just jump in back into your wormhole. It'll take you exactly where you were. But we know it's here. It's set the guidance, so hopefully if we now click out of here, right click and set to active, you'll see it's now orange. It's now giving us the way marker. If I clear all that, it's now giving us the little orange arrow on our little screen, and we can now use our autopilot once again. So again, in our fleet, we're going to go and head over to that marker, and we are about to finish the first mission. Back to what we were discussing earlier, however, let's go into the right screen. The only other thing I want to kind of cover, I don't want to talk about modifications and spacesuit upgrades at this present moment, because these things here, they're not really, we don't need to worry about them at the present moment. Spacesuit mods are just something nice if you want to upgrade it. Now you get these from the trading stations and stuff like that, and you sometimes find them in lock boxes and all sorts. So just keep an eye out for them if you do see them. The one thing I do want to discuss now, the other things I'm not too worried about. We've covered this here, where you can see what your relationship is to factions and how it's affecting it and what you've opened up here. See, once you become a citizen of the Republic, we can start getting the Republic stuff here and how much things cost. Now obviously we've done the Argon Federation, so we're almost at the Federation trade offer subscription. Got the capital ship license. We can start buying capital ships when we're ready. And we've got, like, you know, module licenses and all sorts, so we can buy kind of nice stuff. We can see that Antigone we're doing well on as well. And I usually do well with, like, the hop hats. Paranids I don't really do too much with. Free Family's not done much with, as you can see we're on -5, but we're still at a stage where they're not going to shoot us, so we can get that up. It'll be nice. Duke's Buccaneers we're on 0, so yeah, you can see that, you know, how well we're doing with everything. Red ones, obviously, people are going to shoot. The Xenon will always shoot. Statistics tells you everything you need to know, tells you how long you've been playing, total time, and I believe that's 1 day and 7 minutes or 1 day and 7 hours, something like that. Or no, it can't be 1 day. Might be. I'm not sure. I have to double check that. I think it might be 1 day, 7 hours. Now, what you can see here, you know, all the stuff we've done. This is your look at. Account management. This allows you to give your accounts money right from your cockpit. See, like the reach orders. If you want to give it some more money, you can do. That's some cash. You can also collect from where you are as well. Go the right way. There. Now took all that profit out of that solar power plant and put it into the reach. Logbook, as you know, logs everything that you've been doing. But the last one I want to talk about is global orders. Your best thing to do is look at your own global orders. These are global standings, so this is things that every single thing will do as a default. Before you set anything up that you want to change, it will default to these standards. So you can do things like, you know, what notifications you want. You can do things like global responses to police interdictions, pirate harassment, found abandoned ships, found lockboxes. So if you don't tell them what to do, they'll notify you and then they will ignore. We can change it so they can collect. So now, whenever they find one, they'll collect it. Bear in mind, if they collect it and there is contraband in there, then you're collecting contraband and goes over it. But let's just leave it on and see how it goes. The default settings from automatic resupplies. You can have automatic resupplies as well. We're not dealing with resupplies at the moment, so we won't worry about that. And then, yeah, you've got all the other bits. You can also do things like trade rules. So only my property may trade. Set that up as well. Additional allowed factions, so you can add a faction, so you can say, well, actually, I only want to deal with the Argon Federation and myself. So when you then set only my property may trade, this is basically a rule you're setting. As you can see there, it says delete trade rule. Say set trade rule as default for station trade, station supplies, and sale of ships. Restrict all factions, or you can have additionally allowed factions, as I said, and you can add which one you want. Gives you a little description here. Trade routes enable you to block access to other factions or your own ships to your trade offer. You can create a new trade rule, which is exactly the same. You just call it a name, save the trade rule name, and set it up to what you want to do. You can do blacklists. You can create a blacklist, sector travel, sector activities, or trade restrictions. And you can also set a new alert as well. Subtle notifications. You can change the sound of it, and the intervals, or how it's going to often. You can make it force repeat. Oh, autopilot epically failed. I have no idea where it's launching us. Oh, it looks like it's just re-engaged.
Entering Grand Exchange.
Is it working? Oh, that's why. So if it's, as you can see here, it's quite close to this jump point here. If it hits the jump points, it'll throw it out of the way, and that's when you get the epically failed warning. But it seems to have recovered, and I think we'll clear that there. So that's the extra little bits and bobs you've got in your personal thing. You'll also notice the red markers there. We're starting to get enemies in sectors and stuff like that, so just be wary of that as you're playing. But the global orders is pretty decent, and it allows you to have that little bit of tweaking of things like that. So if you really want to get into stuff like that, which is why I prefer this over other games like Stellaris, because you've got this kind of setting if you want it, but as a default, it's all set up for you and ready to go. Okay, so we're going to smash into a rock. Oh, yep, our autopilot has found that rock and decided to put us on a hold. Okay, so we're nearly there, but it looks like the autopilot's going to struggle through the minefield, through the asteroid field. So we're going to cut right to where. Okay, as you can see there, he's telling you exactly what he wants to do. Now, if you're wondering what I was just doing there, I was actually physically stopping myself because on autopilot it will fly right through that marker and not stop. And to stop yourself from doing that, obviously you press the shift on to come out of the travel mode. Travel mode's obviously where the orange little markers are. Just drop yourself out and then you can control your flight speed. You can get yourself nicely set up here. Oh, shot over it again. You don't need to be perfectly on the marker, but we're in the area now, so I think it's actually just taking the marker off. So, we're in the area, we're nearby where we had our thing, so we can now set ourselves to stop. And we want to have a look where our second ship is. Now, our second ship is just out here. Get our second ship to fly to. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drop out. But I know where I'm on. We're going to get out of our ship now. Get up.
Elite. Vanguard.
Use the transporter room. Use the spacesuit and enter. And then confirm. Now you've got plenty of oxygen, so don't worry about anything.
Initial test. I would advise that you clear the area as there are a number of unknowns.
But using your suit's exactly like flying. It kind of operates the same way. You've got your marker for your ship. We're looking for our other ship, which is on our radar, just about around here. But it operates exactly the same way, except inertia is a thing. So if you turn your suit off, you will continue to float in one direction. Don't get like the flight option you do in this. Now he's telling us to go head over there for our observation, but obviously we need to get into our other ship, so we're gonna have a fly over to our secondary ship here that we've got set for us. We'll boost ourselves over there. The boost is pretty good on the suit, considering. And I tend to launch myself right at it. It'll slow you down a little bit. It's quite responsive for a spacesuit, to be fair. And as I said, the controls are exactly the same as if you were flying, so you don't have to try and figure out what's up or down. Unless you've set it differently, obviously, in your settings. But with our second ship, we're going to do exactly what we normally do, which is sitting inside it and getting it to do it. Once we find our way into it. Oh, colour that. Good choice of colour. This is where the inertia starts kicking in. Stop ourselves. Go. And then what I want to do is I want to select it.
Elite. Vanguard.
I want to ask to dock with it.
Docking granted.
And as you can see, it's going to tell us which direction to head to dock, and it opens the docking door. I mean, that is pretty cool for detail. I do like the detail it comes. And you can just smash yourself into the hole that is. And there you go. We are inside the ship. Nice and safe. Plenty of oxygen, so don't worry if you miss it the first time. But now we're going to take control of this, and we're going to tell them to head over to the observation point. Now, as you can see, when I clicked on it there, it gives us orders for and all sorts. Make sure you just click that. There we go. We can now head on out of the way. It'll take a minute because they're not the fastest people in the world. But we're not far off, so once this does this, it'll start completing our mission for us, thankfully. Okay, so that's telling us a load of crap.
We are getting a reaction.
If we turn around,
The ship is
use
beginning
the ship
to
and have a
show
look.
strain, but I will continue to push it further. Keep your distance. The tear is expanding. It's about to reach the ship. The antimatter will most likely detonate. What is this? Some large artificial structure. So this is what was on the other side of the tear. It does seem that our investigation has led to some potentially groundbreaking discovery. Now, my friend, this is where we must proceed with both haste and caution. While I admit, tearing through space-time with an antimatter explosion was far from restrained, we now have something in front of us of untold scientific value. We would be fools to continue carelessly. For the benefit of the universe, let us hurry and claim our prize before someone can beat us to it. I'll be damned if some passing Taladi junk dealer decides to break it down for spare parts, or worse yet, the Ministry of Finance Science Division. I will begin to interface with the structure remotely. Do you mind flying around it so I can make some additional readings? Let's start over here.
Okay, so what it's going to tell you to do is basically, it's going to teach you how to scan stuff. Which obviously, if you've paid attention at the beginning of it, you kind of know what you're doing already. But we'll go ahead and we'll complete what it's asking us to do. It gives you locations to head to, so just head around the station. Now, if you notice, the station appeared in front of us, then disappeared. Just have a look around like I did. Find where it was, and you'll see it here. It's always the same kind of shape and colour. It's got a giant asteroid in the middle of it, so you can't really miss it. If you're going to struggle to find it, if you press in your map, you'll see it's here, and it says unknown station, and it gives you this star. It's a pretty big star, so you shouldn't be able to miss it. And we can fly around.
To drop my cargo.
Harassed by pirates.
Awaiting orders.
Escape. Nope.
We're taking hits.
So let's head to our marker here.
These markings are not quite as alien as I would have expected from such an object. Could this be a top-secret installation? Oh my. I do hope we haven't hijacked some distant Terran station.
And we're going to head to another marker point. You're just basically completing the mission settings here. There's nothing really special about this. It just talks about the station, gives you a bit of background story to it. So it's pretty nice to do. Let's have a look what it's going to tell us this time, shall we?
It does seem somewhat unfinished, and the materials it is constructed of are quite strange. Even the computer pathways I am navigating are unconventional.
Okay. And we should hopefully, I think this is the last one you have to do. Now, had this been a station that we haven't scanned before and you've got scanning mode on, or it goes that funny colour, you'd be scanning it right now, so kind of setting you up for doing that. Have a look what it's going to tell us about the asteroid.
I cannot yet ascertain the function of this asteroid-like mass in regards to the rest of the station. Given these readings, it may well be a power source. How interesting.
Okay, listen.
Wonderful. You see, the station is now under our control. We have access to much of its systems, although some are so alien, I will need to take the time to investigate them further. There appear to be connection points for additional station modules, and they do seem to conform to our standards. If we wish to physically interface with the station without damaging it, I suggest constructing an area to land. Oh, it appears I must go. My Split employers are approaching, and they do sound agitated. I will be in touch when I am able. As I have said, see if you are able to merge their technology with our own by building a dock. Take care, my friend.
Okay, so what it's basically doing for you there is it's basically setting you up so you've got your own station. Now, obviously, we've kind of jumped ahead and we've set our own station up anyway. But, yeah, it's a free station, so why not? Now, we're going to leave it here for this and we'll finish off the next part of it on the next episode. But I'm going to get up and let my ship take control again.
Vanguard.
It appears. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for checking out this episode. Hopefully, I've given you some insight into some of the stuff earlier on in the episode whilst completing this first mission. We've got ourselves a new station, which is nice. We can use it just like you would expect to use a station. It's exactly the same as having another station. except it's in the Grand Exchange this time rather than all the way up here. So we're now in two rather busy areas, so we can finally start to expand our operation. And this is what this guy's going to go through next. He's expanding the operation tenfold. We're going to claim some of our own territory, and then we may even police some of it and put some contraband in. Why not? But yeah, there you go. So that hopefully that's giving you a little bit more of an insight, and we will continue, as I say, on the next episode. But if there's anything you'd like to know in the meantime, let me know in the comment section. I will reiterate one point that I haven't covered, but I have covered in the previous video. If you're struggling with your miners, feel free to comment, but just always do the same thing. Make sure that the ore or the material you're mining is in that sector and has a factory that will accept it. Same for your traders as well. If your traders are set to only do sector trading, if there's actually anything in the sector that needs trading, sometimes they don't have any trades, and especially if you're not using the mod, sometimes the trades die off. Obviously satellites are going to help you with that kind of thing. Hopefully I've answered a couple of questions that I do get through quite often. If not, and you still need more information, please feel free to comment in the comment section. If you'd like to get it even more in depth, or if you just like to get involved or just want to talk about the game, then make sure you check out the Discord, where other people like yourselves have joined and obviously been talking and discussing and having questions, and obviously I can answer you directly and a lot faster as well. But until next time, everybody, take care for now, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.